observing October 10th as World Mental Health Day. This year's theme, 2021's theme is Mental Health Care for All. Let us make it a reality. As we all are aware, the COVID-19 pandemic has had a major impact on many people's mental health, especially some specific groups, including health and other frontline workers, students, people living alone, and those with pre-existing mental health conditions. And services for mental, neurological, and substance use disorders have also been significantly disrupted. So this week is being observed as Mental Health Awareness Week. We at KVFS Akulum is conducting this program for class 10th and 12th students as they are the most stressed group among our students. We have an expert here. You may listen to her and are requested to ask questions if you are facing any such issues. This is conducted jointly as part of the outreach program of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India. More details will be followed soon. For the formal welcome address, I cordially invite our beloved HM, Priya ma'am. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, madam. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. Revered Chief Guest of the Day, Mrs. K. Beena IAS, most respected resource person of today's program, Ms. Anita S., Honorable Principal of KVAFS Akulum, Sri Kumaramohan Ji, learned colleagues, and my dear loving students of class 10 and 12. As Darshana Madam said, today we have assembled on the occasion of World Mental Health Day on October 10, as recognized by World Health Organization. With the theme of this year, it is Mental Health in an Unequal World. And this day is observed to raise awareness of the mental health issues and also to mobilize efforts in support of that mental health. As part of this, today we are so lucky to have Ms. K.A. Beena IAS as our chief guest amongst us. Mrs. K.A. Beena, who joined in Indian Information Service in the year 1991. She is the Deputy Director of Regional Outreach Bureau, Kerala and Lakshadweep, under Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India. And she worked as news editor in Trivandrum, Doordarshan and Akashvani. Besides, it's so interesting to know that she is a travelogue too. Some of her travelogues are Brahmaputraile Veedu, Chuvadugal, Nadi Thinnunna Dweep, Beena Kanda Russia. On behalf of principal, staff and students of Kendriya Vidyalaya Air Force Station Akulum, I cordially welcome Madam K.A. Beena to this function. Welcome, Madam.
Welcome, Madam. On my personal behalf, also welcome to you. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Then we have Ms. Anita S. with us today as a resource person who has consented to give a session on mental health to our students of class 10 and 12. And Ms. Anita S., who is Master of Social Worker from Amrita Vishwapedam. And she has done her MPhil in Psychiatric Social Work from IMHANS, Calicut. At present, she is working as Psychiatric Social Worker and Research Associate in Mehak Foundation, Kochi. She is an expert in handling children with disabilities and has given many national and international presentations. And she published many books related to children with disabilities. It's my proud privilege to welcome Madam Anita S. on behalf of Kendriya Vidyalaya Air Force Station, Akulum. Welcome, Madam.
Welcome, Anita, Madam, on my behalf also. Welcome.
It's my pleasure to welcome our Honorable Principal, Sri Kumaramohan Ji, to this function, who is the backbone of all our programs. Sir, I cordially invite you to this function officially, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Now, it's my pleasure to welcome all the colleagues who has joined from their busy schedule of teaching online classes, and my dear loving students of 10th and 12th who really eagerly waiting for this mental health programs. So on behalf of KVAFS Sakulam family, once again, let me welcome all the members to this function. Thank you.
Madam, good morning to all.
Invite.
Most respected Beena K.A. Madam, Deputy Director, and Madam Anita is resource person. Madam, our target group for this session is class 10 and 12 children. You must be knowing the reason why we have selected them, because they are the most stressed batch of children, those in school education, because they are going to face examinations, board examinations. Last year, CBSE has not conducted an examination for CBSE. They have given result without exam. But this year, the onus has come on to the present 10 and 12 standard batch. Instead of having one examination, they are supposed to this year write 2 examinations. So they are under double effect, I believe. So that's the reason why we have chosen this batch as our target group. So on behalf of our entire team, I once again cordially, heartfully welcome Madam Beena K.A. and Madam Anita is for this function. Hopefully, I hope that this will be a fruitful session for all of us. Thank you. Over to you, Madam. Beena Madam, over to you. Madam, mic is muted, it seems.
Okay, good morning to all.
Morning.
Good morning, madam. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാം, ഒരു 1.5 വർഷമായിട്ട് സ്കൂളുകളിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ നിരന്തരം ഇത്തരം ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ എടുക്കുകയാണ്. കുട്ടികൾ നേരിടുന്ന സ്ട്രെസ്, ഓൺലൈൻ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ, എനിക്ക് എൻ്റെ വീട്ടിലെ കുട്ടികളെ വെച്ച് തന്നെ അറിയാം, ഓൺലൈൻ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ അത്ര എളുപ്പമുള്ള കാര്യമില്ല. ഇപ്പം പ്രോഗ്രാമിൽ തന്നെ ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള പ്രോഗ്രാം സംഘടിപ്പിക്കുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ ഞങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം, നേരത്തെ സ്കൂളിൽ വന്ന് നിങ്ങളെല്ലാവരെയും കണ്ട് വളരെ സന്തോഷത്തോടു കൂടി നമ്മൾ അതൊരു സന്തോഷത്തിൻ്റെയും ഒരു സൗഹൃദത്തിൻ്റെയും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ഷെയറിങ്ങിൻ്റെയൊക്കെ സ്ഥലം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു മനുഷ്യനും തമ്മിൽ. അതെല്ലാം തന്നെ നമ്മൾ മൊബൈലിലും ലാപ്ടോപ്പിലും ടാബിലുമായിട്ട് ഒതുങ്ങിയിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ആ സമയത്ത് സ്ട്രെസ് വരുന്നുള്ള ഉറപ്പാണ്. പിന്നെ പരീക്ഷയുടെ സ്ട്രെസ്, മനുഷ്യന് രോഗം വരുമോ എന്നുള്ള സ്ട്രെസ്, അങ്ങനെ ഒരുപാട് സ്ട്രെസ്സിൽ കൂടി കടന്നു പോകുന്ന ഒരു കാലത്താണ് ഇപ്രാവശ്യത്തെ മെൻ്റൽ ഹെൽത്ത് ഡേ വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. മെൻ്റൽ ഹെൽത്ത് ഡേയിൽ ശരിക്കും ലോകം മുഴുവൻ നമ്മുടെ ഇപ്പം കോവിഡിൻ്റെ കാലത്ത് ഉണ്ടായ ഒരു പ്രത്യേകത എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ, നേരത്തെ ഞങ്ങൾ തന്നെ ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കാൻ ചെല്ലുമ്പോൾ മെൻ്റൽ ഹെൽത്ത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു സ്കൂളിൽ ചെന്ന് ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കുമ്പോൾ അതൊരു വല്ലാണ്ടൊരു ടാബും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. കോവിഡ് വന്നിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഗുണം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ എല്ലാവരും ഇങ്ങോട്ടാണ് ആവശ്യപ്പെടുന്നത് മെൻ്റൽ ഹെൽത്തിനെ കുറിച്ച് ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പം മാനസികമായ ആരോഗ്യം വളരെ അത്യാവശ്യമാണ് എന്ന് ലോകം മുഴുവൻ, WHO പോലും പറയുന്നുണ്ട് അത്. അപ്പം അങ്ങനെ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയ ഒരു കാലത്തിൽ കൂടിയാണ് നമ്മൾ കടന്നു പോകുന്നത്. ശരിക്കും വളരെ ട്രബിൾസം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഭയങ്കര ടെൻഷൻ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കാലം കടന്നുപോയി. കുറേ വാക്സിൻ്റെ ഒക്കെ ഇത് വന്നതുകൊണ്ട് കുറച്ച് നമ്മൾ കോവിഡിൽ നിന്ന് രക്ഷപ്പെട്ടു എന്ന് കരുതുന്നുണ്ട്. എങ്കിൽ പോലും ഫിയർ സൈക്കോസ്, ഞങ്ങൾ ക്ലാസ്സൊക്കെ എടുക്കുമ്പോൾ ചില സ്കൂളിലെ കുട്ടികളൊക്കെ എണീറ്റ്, ടീച്ചർ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വാക്സിൻ കിട്ടിയിട്ടില്ല, ഞങ്ങൾ മരിച്ചു പോകുമോ എന്നൊക്കെ ചോദിക്കുന്ന തരത്തിൽ വളരെ ഇന്നസെൻ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ഒരുപാട് കുട്ടികളുടെ ഉള്ളിൽ ഇതിൻ്റെ ഫിയർ ഉണ്ട് നമ്മൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. പിന്നെ അച്ഛനും അമ്മയും മരിച്ചുപോയ കുട്ടികളെ നമ്മൾ പല പരിപാടികളിലും കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. അവരനുഭവിക്കുന്ന ഒരുപാട് സ്ട്രെസ്, മരണം, കുട്ടികൾക്ക് വളരെ വളരെ അടുത്തറിഞ്ഞ ഒരുപാട് മരണങ്ങൾ കണ്ട ഒരുപാട് കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങൾ നമ്മുടെ ഇടയിലുണ്ട്. ആകെ കൂടെ സ്ട്രെസ്സാണ്. പഠിത്തത്തിനൊപ്പം തന്നെ ജീവിതവും അവർക്ക് വെല്ലുവിളി ഉയർത്തിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കാലത്തിലാണ് നമ്മൾ നിൽക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു പരിപാടിക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് നമ്മൾക്ക് സഹകരിക്കാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞതിൽ റീജിയണൽ ഔട്ട്റീച്ച് ബ്യൂറോയ്ക്ക് വളരെയേറെ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. പട്ടം KVയിൽ നിന്ന് ഫൈസൽ സാർ വഴിയാണ് നമ്മൾ ഈ സ്കൂളിലേക്ക് എത്തിയത്. ഇനി നമുക്ക് തുടർന്ന് ഇതുപോലുള്ള ഒരുപാട് പരിപാടികൾ സംഘടിപ്പിക്കാം എന്ന് കരുതുന്നു. ഇന്ന് നമ്മളുമായി ചേർന്ന് ഈ പരിപാടി സംഘടിപ്പിക്കുന്നത് കൊച്ചിയിലെ മെഹാക് ഫൗണ്ടേഷനുമായിട്ട് ചേർന്നിട്ട് അനിതയാണ് നമ്മളോട് ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കാൻ വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഞാൻ ഈ വിഷയത്തെക്കുറിച്ച് കൂടുതൽ പറയുന്നില്ല, എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഞാനൊരു എക്സ്പേർട്ട് അല്ല. നമ്മളൊരു എക്സ്പേർട്ടിനെ തന്നെയാണ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കാൻ കൊണ്ടുവന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. എല്ലാവരും ഇപ്പം ഇതിലൊരു ആൾ കേട്ടു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫ്രണ്ട്സിനെ സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. 10ാം ക്ലാസ്സിലെ കുട്ടികളും 12ാം ക്ലാസ്സിലെ കുട്ടികളും കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങളുടെ ചുറ്റുമുള്ള ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു കുട്ടി ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു സ്ട്രെസ്സിൽ കൂടി പോകുന്നെങ്കിൽ അവരെ ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനും കൂടി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഈ ക്ലാസ് ഉപകരിക്കണം എന്ന എനിക്കൊരു ആഗ്രഹമുണ്ട്. ഈ ക്ലാസ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഈ വർഷം നിങ്ങളുടെ പരീക്ഷയെ നേരിടാനായിട്ടുള്ള എല്ലാ കരുത്തും തരട്ടെ എന്ന് ആഗ്രഹിക്കുകയാണ്. അധികം ഞാൻ സംസാരിക്കുന്നില്ല, ക്ലാസ്സിലേക്ക് പോവാം. അനിത.
So, thank you so much and very good morning to all. It's my pleasure to be a part of this interaction with students, especially during this mental health awareness program. So, I think we can go directly to the presentations, and after that, we can have a discussion regarding your queries and all. We can move to the presentation. As we all have discussed and we have heard that it's for creating the mental health awareness, and we are conducting a campaign to create an awareness. As we all know that October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and we have focused, the WHO has focused the theme on mental health in an unequal world. So we can move forward with why we have made for mental health in an unequal world. Actually, we were trying to focus to perpetuate the mental health inequality and locally and globally. We have initially from our side itself, we have discussed that the students especially going to in a stressful situation, and before 1.5 years, even we cannot think of that while without coming in the physical presence, we can conduct the classes or academics. Initial time, we itself felt, both the faculties and the students have felt difficulties in conducting the classes or how it's be going. So everyone has its own difficulties and we are going through a distress through these years. But somehow we are coping with the situations right now. So I know that there are a number of students from the 10th and 12th standards. Can anyone please share your experiences during the initial onset of this pandemic and how you cope up the situation right now? So your exams are coming, so you will be in some sort of distress, but how you deal it with? Can any one or two students can share your experience?
Um, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Uh, Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Respected uh, ma'am, Anita, ma'am, principal, sir, teachers, and all my friends. I'm Rajshri, and I was in 11th when COVID struck all of us quite, suddenly, and I'm pretty sure no one saw that coming. And we never really expected that we'd go through a pandemic like this one. So it was all too sudden,
Yeah.
and obviously psychologically it's kind of proven that people react differently in different ways to change, and my reaction, I'd say, was kind of a bad one, I guess. I didn't take it well. So my parents were a little worried with how I was stressed, and my mood swings were kind of hard to deal with, and um, I wasn't being as cheerful as I used to be back in 10th when I used to go to school. Since school was a well separated part of my life, it was like a separate domain for me to work with, and my home was also separate from my school, but now it's all merged together, and it was chaotic for me. So that's what maybe triggered my mood disorder. So I got diagnosed with a mood disorder. It's called bipolar disorder. So I struggled with bipolar for an year in 11th, and because of that, my academics was really badly affected. But well, I got
So
help
how
at the
you
right
cope up
time,
with
and
that?
I'm
Yeah.
very glad. Yeah, well, I
Okay.
I'm so glad that I reached out to my parents. Even they noticed symptoms. I noticed symptoms. I knew something was going on. So I did talk to them about it, and I got help at the right time. So we consulted a professional, and I go for therapy, and I got meds at the right time, and now I'm in a much better place mentally. So I reached out at the right time, and that's what I'm glad about.
Yeah, it's a good example, and you are at good mental health. So this is the thing which we are really focusing on nowadays, right? Because we are not really going on beyond the mental illness. We need to create the mental health. As we know that during the initial time we are at the lockdown, we have like inaccessible of the services. So that time, even under the conditions, like people who are being affected doesn't get the time to get an interaction or the clinical interventions. So in this case, like we got right time, right approach to that situation. That's why you have now at your at good mental health. But there are some conditions which people doesn't recognize that they need a support or they cannot identify the symptoms. So, being with your friends, once your friends may be having such difficulties, you can point out and make them understand that. So, this will help rest of the peoples who are understanding those who need the support and help. So here, this year, we are really focusing on the mental health as we know that this COVID-19 pandemic situation, which creates the people's bad, severely affected their mental health. We know that the people who were working with the COVID situations, the frontline workers, the students, even the students, so many kids were telling like that, we cannot even think of that. We didn't mean back to our friends. We were back to our home. It's a long time we were meeting our friends. Like it severely affected their emotional reactions. So the people who were living alone, so the vulnerable like elderly populations, everyone I was working with the psychiatric population, so there are so many persons who were pre-existing with mental health conditions, all have been particularly affected. So, like this year, we are need to create an awareness that we need to take care of the mental health of people. So we have discussing so many things about mental health. It's actually an umbrella term, so many things which comes under mental health. So in your understanding, what you may be defined about mental health? So your understanding what is mental health, like what we have called mental health. One or two persons can randomly speak about it. What's your understanding about mental health? As we are every time we are telling like this week we were observing the mental health week, mental health awareness, and October 10th is World Mental Health Day. And what's our understanding about mental health?
Ma'am,
Yes.
I'm Anaka of 12th. Ma'am, I
Yeah.
believe mental health as in we mentally sane or being stable emotionally, that and together with physical health as well, mental health. Yeah, that's what I think it is. Being emotionally stable as well as mentally sane.
Yeah,
Yes.
what Anika said is like it's an holistic approach. Like we need to consider our physical, emotional, and all other well-being. Once comes under, it will be called as mental health. Good, Anika. And any other opinions? At least two more persons can share your experience. I know that it's a huge population, and it's good. It's like we can tell our opinions, right?
Ma'am, I'm Gayatri
Yes,
from
please.
10th. It mental health can be defined as feeling good about ourselves in which
Huh.
we are in things we are doing.
Yeah. Exactly what we felt about ourselves or how we cope about ourselves in these situations, which defines mental health. Okay. So, mental health will be defined as a state of well being which we realizes our own abilities which can cope with the normal stresses of life other which can work productively and fruitfully, and we can be contribute to our own community. If our mental health we cannot cope up with the situations, it will really affect life. If you are emotionally distressed, it will affect your academics and you cannot be cheerfully interact with your parents or your colleagues and all. So as you said, it's our own individual realizes that what was our own abilities, which can cope up with the normal stresses. Everyone was going through in some kind of distresses, but at some point of life we have some coping mechanism to cope up with it. Some point of time it beyond our abilities, that time we might be seeking professional help. So we need to understand that like what are our own abilities to cope up with the normal stresses of life. Usually everyone were asking the questions like us, how we can differentiate these mental health and mental illness. So mental illness or the health condition involves changes in emotions, the thinking pattern or behavior, like a combination of there is an distraction in the emotions or the thinkings or the behavior. So it can associated with any kind of distress or there is any social or occupational dysfunctioning happens, there will be a chance of getting into the mental illness. So how we can know that we are really healthy in our mental health? At what all situations we can have said that we are really mental, our mental health is good? You can see some of the examples here. Can anyone can tell that at what time you might be feeling that I'm okay, my health is mental health is okay?
Um, when our appetite is normal, as in it's balanced in a way, and our sleep schedule isn't affecting our physical health as well, as in our sleep, we are getting enough sleep,
Yeah. One of the
and
things which major affected, you are right, is sleep. Once we get stressed or we are getting into the fear, it might affect our sleep. So once our sleep, we doesn't have any sleep disturbances, we might feel that our mental health is okay.
yes, ma'am. And
So once, if you are get annoying with your younger or elder siblings, you might be disturbed for some kind of things. So at that time, how will you react?
temper bursts,
Huh?
Short tempered, yes.
Yeah.
Getting irritated for no reason.
and yeah, snapping at the
Huh.
sibling.
Yeah. That was a reaction to our annoying, right?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, if we get annoying to your younger or your colleagues or friends, that time we get easily agitated, and sometimes that have we might be knowing that someone like have breathlessness also due to that short temperedness. We have seen that. We get really frustrated at that time. We cannot concentrate on that time if someone was telling. If we are annoying and like our parents were telling, you don't do like this, you are not supposed to do like that, that time actually we cannot focus on the things because we are not at a good state of mind to hear the things which they have said. And if that thing was persistent, if some kids were really came here because of her anxieties, we might be really aware of the things nowadays, a social distancing. Some kids were coming and telling us, I just went to supermarket today. Some persons who was really had cough and sneezing. So they had a fear that did they get affected by COVID-19. So, and after some week also, it's still persistent. And sometimes they used to persist parents to go to laboratory to checking that whether they will get affected or not. And some kids still have the fear that, okay, that time I had met with them, even though they had a physical appropriate distance, even they had. That time they cannot concentrate on their studies. Still, they had the persistent anxiety and sadness. They might be they had a feeling that they might be get affected if they are they exposed to such pandemics. And really, that time that kid had really those fatigue and she cannot enjoy any activities which she had find pleasure before doing. The thing which has she had really frightened, like we are so much depending on the social medias and all. Really, we need to get one thing we need to always stress on that we need to get the correct information regarding the pandemic, but too much of the things which I give an emphasis on such social media things or news makes me more anxious. So keep on getting. Sometimes it might be not at all correct informations which they might be getting. All these things that kids makes trouble, and she was getting into the consultation for her anxiety things. She had like some aches and pains. She had a physical persistent symptoms continuing, really deteriorating all her activities. As early one of the students said like that, if our mental health is good, we can have nice sleep. But in her case, she had the sleep disturbance. She cannot concentrate on her studies, and even she started to feeling like she had aches and pains. It's due to her stresses, as we called it as a somatic complaints, because there is no reason, any such reasons for the physical presence. It's purely based on the psychological distress. And if this condition gets filled, extended, we might be feeling we need to take a professional help. That time they might be having an excessive anxiety and fatigue. They cannot perform the daily routines and they have the withdrawal. Even some of the times her friends have to seek find help for her. She used to avoid all the calls with her friends and all. So we need to understand that we once our friend circle is anyone who had these kind of issues, we need to talk with them. You can talk with their parents or teachers if your friends having experiencing such sort of things, because most of the kids or parents doesn't understand that they are going through the distress. They might be feeling that it's a normal kind of reaction, she that doesn't need any help. But we need to identify that if there is any kind of reactions or persistent anxiety you might felt with your friends or your community, you need to identify, you can empower. This is the thing which like these mental health awareness can be happen. So you are the younger generations and you can definitely motivate others to enhance on the mental health things. This is the one of the most stigmatized thing earlier. Like once if you need to consult a psychiatrist or any other mental health professionals, this the taboo persisted in the society. But nowadays it gets changed, and as earlier ma'am said, due to the COVID and things, people are requesting or demanding to take classes and get insight regarding this mental health. So we need to identify that yeah, mental health means our own individual ability or the realizes to cope up with the situation. And if we felt that we cannot cope up with the distress, if we are not in a healthy situation, we need to, if like these persistent kind of anxiety, sadness, fatigue, our daily routines get affected, you might be not get noticed. So all these things gets comes under stress. We usually everyone was gone under this stress. And we have a lot of discussion that how we can manage this stress. Actually, what is stress? Lot of questions were happening among these adolescents. So uh, stress is which you feel overwhelmed or unable to cope as a result of pressure that which is not under your control, and stress which can impact on how you feel physically. Like as I said, that kid had all these body aches and pains. They went for so many consultations and there doesn't have seems to be find any biological investigations which is positive, that we call as somatic symptoms. And these stress can be cause mental health problems and make existing problems much more worse. For example, if you are often struggle with to manage your feeling of stress, you might develop a mental health problem like anxiety or depression. you might be aware about the depression. There are so much awareness which have created on depression. So how will be a response to stress? So can anyone discuss a stressful situation which you undergone, either with pandemic or any other kind of thing?
I'm having to make a choice of
Huh.
stream
Huh.
before after 10th ended, and
Yeah.
to those who did not have any idea what they wanted to do,
Huh.
it was a sudden decision, a sudden call to make. So that was a very stressful situation because that required a lot of
Okay.
you know
So
overthinking and stuff. So
okay. So how you get into a decision?
I'm weighing the pros and cons of every option that we have presented
Uh,
to us.
hmm.
And well, if they, if the positives overweigh the negatives, then that's the decision that I usually go for. Even though
Uh,
I am very indecisive, and that really puts me to in a very vulnerable position when it comes to stress.
hmm. Okay. So whom you consulted? Like, so whom you have discussed your concerns and all?
My parents and my seniors,
Huh.
also my therapist at that time. So
All right. So what was your ambition forward?
I did want to pursue psychology, and I was very confused, honestly, in a lot of aspects. I was interested in doing a lot of things, but I didn't have a concrete. I still, in fact, don't have a concrete plan ahead, but I'm planning to write NDA maybe this year. I've applied for it, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes, I
Okay.
guess.
So still now you are in a dilemma, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Whether you want to pursue the psychology and other side, definitely you have the MBA option.
Exactly,
So
ma'am. They're so diverse. It's like not diverse. I mean,
yeah,
they're so different from each other. So I can't really.
yeah. All right. So it's like an ongoing process, right? Your every time, like your stresses will be with you only, right? So every time you have a second thought whether I should go for psychology or I should go for NDA. So it's might I think your therapist can help you out. So how you will respond to that stress? Like sometimes, like in adolescent cases, like it's more of generate curious in kids. So usually once they get into the depression or they cannot get rid of some things, they might be get addicted with the substance use. And definitely, as we discussed, like if our mental health is not so good, we have the such sleep irritations or sleep problems, and we might get aggressed or irritated, and our productivity get low. We cannot concentrate on much more things, and that times once we might be knowing that some of our colleagues had such anxiety issues, even they cannot perform in the stage, like they, even though sometimes in the classrooms we might feel that they know all the answers, but they cannot wake up the answers. They usually give answers to their friends, so this is the right answer, but they cannot tell to that of the classrooms. There are some kind of anxieties whispers. So that time, if like in such kind of situations, avoid such situations. If you had get an opportunity for doing an MC in your such occasions in your school, she might be good in her vocabulary and all, but she cannot independently face the audience. That time usually happens. She used to avoid such situations, but once it comes to forcefully, if you happen to do that things, they might be feeling all these aches and pains. Why? Because once our muscles get tightened, we might be feeling physical exertion like aches and pains. Sometimes they had a feeling of fainting and numbness. And once really we are, if we are 12th students, science students, or 10th students, if we are appearing for the Viva or exams, like that time you might be getting most anxious and you might be feeling of a dry mouth and you have stomach cramps. Some of the students we get know that before the exams they used to went to toilet because they had that anxiety and they had the stomach cramps and the indigestion problems. Their heart rate gets increased and they have severe headaches also. And emotionally they might get feeling of depressed, and some of like the feeling like dying, they cannot face that situations. And once you get moody, some might be express their emotional things like crying frequently. So it's definitely affect, but at the same time, we might be knowing that our thinking process can know that I must do well, I know that I want to do that, but due to these things, due to my anxieties, I cannot perform well. As in your case, you know the pros and cons of both the professions, but still you are in dilemma that which one will be suited you most. Maybe you had much more maybe because of you undergoing the therapy and all, you have a passion towards the psychology, and definitely your colleagues and the atmosphere which you grown up will definitely motivated for an ND exam. That might be you were in dilemma like that.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this is exactly the terrible situations, and it will become longer with you. So I think this is the right time whether you can make a decision. Like once you get into the therapist, you can have a discussion, and if you are consulting a psychologist, you can do a skill test also whether you are apt for such professions. You can discuss with them. So then you can focus on that for your particular aim. So it might be affected with our interpersonal relationship also, because once we get distressed, we always thinking of the things what will happen to me, like that. So if I cannot concentrate on much more things, I used to cut off my relationships and all. So sometimes we used to feel aggressive because I have a tension and I cannot know, I doesn't know that how to express. That time, like we are externalizing it as really aggressive. I used to shout towards my parents because sometimes I need to further pursue my higher education in some sort of things, and actually my parents need to get admission to some sort of schools, and I doesn't know that how my frustrations I need to ventilate. That time sometimes we used to think do the things as externalizing, we used to call as aggressive. Sometimes we used to have withdrawal, we used to cut off to talk with our parents or colleagues or cousins, whoever keep on irritating, like telling you just go the things like that. So it will affect holistically, like all, if you have a stress, it will affect your physical, emotional, and interpersonal relationships. So like how we can deal with the stress, like we need to actually, the thing is that active listening, so we need to give a some sort of time, like as you said, you understand your pros and cons, because of that you have an active listening to your parents, your colleagues or seniors. So do not take much more anger too personally. Sometimes, if we are really annoying that time, we get short tempered. But we need to understand that it's because of the situations we are really expressing our anger. Do not take it too much personally and avoid criticism unless it's necessary. And due to this time, you are most of like as housebound, so get some physical exercise daily, because early time we have a routine. We need to wake up at a particular time. We had a difficult like a certain schedule. Nowadays it's going to missing all its on online classes, assignments and all. So get a time for the physical exercise. So it's really cheerful for you guys, and regularize your life leaving to spare time. And definitely you can practice some relaxation techniques, especially like you are going to face your exams, and definitely it's a stressful situation for everyone, even though we were studied or not. Definitely, we need to practice some sort of relaxation techniques that we can discuss later. And definitely, what I have seen is that one thing has changed is that we get much more time to have discuss or share the thoughts and feelings with family. Like some of our parents were work from home, and we get much time. Some of the kids at least get time with their parents, like they were in home, and we have get at least some times to discuss, and we might be get back to our home, and there is some sort of like we get sharing things with family. And definitely, if you are going through some sort of stressful situation, like some kids might be telling like that they had a feeling of that at the moment I will die, I had a feeling like that. So they had the repeated kind of panic attacks. So if you are experienced like that, you can just brought out when was my anxiety provoked, at what all situations I cannot face. All these things will help us to understand that what was our like problems which we face. So it's always good to maintain a diary of your activities and experiences, like if you are going through a distressful situation. And definitely you need to schedule with your personal work, you need to find the things for the relaxation or the things which you get refreshing. So here which we have going with an activity. If you have any paper or pen with you, you can take it up. So just we will going to understand about ourselves. So it will help you even after some days, or you might get distressed. You can really go through this exercise. So if you have a pen or paper, you can draw it. Or is there any pen paper with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So just 5 seconds, okay, 5 minutes you can take. You can just draw this picture. You can see a tree with branch and leaves, and so the top of the portions you can see a rainwater thing or drop, and to the down portion you can see the root. So shall we move with exercise?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Uh,
Yes.
or will we take some more minutes to draw? Shall we move ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we have seen that we know that it's really an analogy of a tree which beautifully explains the needs for our self-care. As we all know that tree remains shady by having a new growth and leaves, and it's a continuous basis, like some of the leaves get shed. So at that time, same times, really new green leaves will be coming. So it's really we can analyze or correlate with our self-care also. So it just gives an understanding about our strength and our qualities. So towards the bottom you can see the root, as we know that root which gives the strength to that tree. So even they can withstand if storms or that might pass by, it will give the root will give the most strength to that tree. So similarly, in our cases, we need to identify the peoples who live in our life, who are providing us the strength and support to stand with and face the challenges during in a vulnerable situation of our life. So you can mention the most peoples who are influenced in our life during the stressful situations, or once we are going to the distress, we can connect with that. So in the root, you can mention the persons who have given the strength and support to you. Once you finish the writing, just pop up. I think you might wrote this.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So everyone gets enough time. Shall we move or should we remain for a few minutes?
Done, madam.
Done, ma'am.
Done.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Then you can see that there are 6 leaves. Usually we are doing this exercise with sketches and all. Like it's usually we can alternatively color the leaves. 3 leaves you can shade it as green and 3 leaves you can shade it as brown. So brown leaves we are considered as shedding leaves or old leaves. So you can consider 3 leaves as your old leaves. So consider the old leaves. In that old leaves, like the brown leaves which we depict, we can think about our behavior, thoughts, or emotions that are hindering our growth. Like maybe the qualities which you fed you want to remove or you want to replace. Even the behavior, thoughts, or emotions that are hindering your growth, like the brown leaves which I need to shed. There are some qualities I want to change myself. I know that that kind of emotions and behavior is not so okay for me. So you can write with that 3 old leaves. If you are like, it gives you actually a self realization. You can put in your rooms as a sticky note and all. Think of yourself, take enough time, understanding your emotion, thoughts, or behavior. Once you're done with your all leaves, please do respond.
Done.
Done. Everyone, or do we need some more minutes?
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Done. Okay. Then we have three more leaves, that which we can consider as the green leaves, which we can mention are positive qualities and strength. So, through our experience, we can identify the qualities. There are some incidents among our friends itself which we might be helpful for them. Some of the times, our friends used to say that you have such good listening, and what are positive qualities and strength which you find in yourself. Uh, everyone gets finished. Take more time to understand our positive qualities. We might be knowing that, okay, these are the things which we need to change, but it's too difficult to get on our positive qualities. Do we need some more minutes to finish your green leaves?
Just a minute more, ma'am.
Okay, we'll wait for it 1 minute, I think. So I think you get the time to get finish your positive qualities and strength.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Everyone gets?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have finished our root, our leaves, and at the top of the topmost portion, you can see a drop of water. Definitely, it gives nourishment for the tree. So, in your life, what was the refreshing thing for to get? Once you are in distress, what will you do for refreshing yourself? So, for a tree, rainwater is definitely a nourishment. And in your life, what will be it?
Recreations.
Yeah, you can note down it.
Done, ma'am.
It's finished.
Done, ma'am.
Yeah. So it's actually for a self evaluation. We might not be thinking of this much kind of strength that I have. Sometimes we might feel I had only some sort of bad qualities. I used to get tensed. Oh, what are my positive qualities when I did this exercise during my post graduation time? I was really stunned. And once I brought, I was really admiring. Oh, did I have this much? Like that, sometimes it gives a. I really think it's a good exercise for me. Keep on growing the things, especially once we become a public speaker, or sometimes it might help us once you are moving with your career. So, if you don't mind, can anyone can share your tree,
Yes, ma'am.
please?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, in the route,
Huh.
I wrote three names, as in one of my younger brother,
Yeah.
second my dad,
Huh.
and third is my best friend.
Okay.
Then in the dry leaves, I wrote my habit of procrastination and like using escape methods
Huh.
to not deal with my problems. That's something I've struggled with a lot, and I would like to let that go. I'm trying, but a little difficult.
Okay.
Then second is low self-esteem and zero self-love. I'm just in a constant pool of self-hate always, and I tend to doubt my abilities in case of a small mistakes. I commit a small mistake and I doubt my overall abilities.
Hmm.
So I want to let that go too, and I
Huh.
want to inculcate self-love. And third
Okay.
one is I'm very emotionally driven and impulsive.
Hmm.
That might come from my bipolar as well. I don't know, but in
Yeah.
general, I'm very, the kind of person who's like who follow her heart instead of her head, and I do not like that at all.
Okay.
I want to change that.
Okay.
And my positive, well, this took a lot of time, but I'm empathetic, and
Huh.
second, I'm resilient,
Huh.
and third, I feel like I'm independent. As in, if I were to be left alone, I think I'd figure it out. I guess I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
And the nourishment activities, well, music is my number one, activity that relaxes me. And traveling, spending time with my loved ones, and my favorite sport, that is squash. So that's my favorite.
Okay, thank you so much. And enough, you have enough self-esteem. I'm pretty sure about it. Some kinds you have some mood fluctuations that makes you feel down, but definitely you have high self-esteem. I'm sure of it. Okay, once you have a
Thank you
high
so
kind of
much, ma'am.
resilient and all, and you are enough to speak in such kind of your peer groups, which means that it shows that your self-esteem. All right. So it's never you have a down self-esteem. Definitely you have high self-esteem. Maybe kind of some mood alteration make us down for sometimes. It never means that you are really good at. Thank you.
Thank you
Can
so
anyone
much,
can
ma'am.
also? Oh sure. Can
Um,
anyone can share?
can I?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Anaka again. So my roots are
Yeah.
my mother, my father, and my
Yeah.
family. My family is very supportive, my
Huh.
cousins and all. And my
Okay.
three brown leaves are I have very less patience
I'm very
that
less. Huh.
I'm short tempered and I kind of shout a lot here with my family and all. Maybe I'm because very annoyed sometimes. I really want to shed those. And my green leaves are from my views as well as my friends' views. So they are like, I'm understanding, I guess. I'm understanding and I'm helpful towards others. And I have room for
Okay.
changes, understanding others and all. And I'm flexible, they say sometimes.
Oh, good.
And my cloud, like my refreshing things are enjoying time with my family. I just really love that, having jokes and all with them. And music, uh,
Okay.
that really refreshes me. And I love to eat food. So yeah, that that thing
All right.
refreshes me the most.
So most of the times, like in COVID, kids find time for getting cooking experiments and all. It's really interesting. So thanks, Anaka, and I felt like that you are really amenable for a change. And your friends were suggesting that you are really understanding people. So it's easy for you to get along, get rid of this kind of short-tempered and annoying thing because you are really amiable. So find out the reasons or find out the incidents which really at what time you might be getting short-tempered, and you can think
Yes,
of it at what point of sort I can get change of it. Okay. So it really
Yes, ma'am.
helpful
Thank you.
sometimes. We might be knowing that we are really annoyed, but that makes some distress. So really think of it that what kind of instance you are getting irritable and try to make that what can make a change. And you can do the thing like that. Sometimes you might be getting annoyed that especially for a short-tempered persons you know that these kinds of incidents makes me irritable. Definitely you are going to get annoyed. You can avoid such situations because once you get into an argument you cannot control yourself. You might be telling something. So if you are understanding the incidents which keeps you easily irritated, try to avoid such situations. That is the best thing which we can perform for such kind of short-tempered persons.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
So thank you. So thank you so much. Hope rest of the team also get analyzed and understand the positives and negative qualities of that. Everyone sometimes I used to shy to share my experiences. Sometimes I feel bad or what my friends think. Did I have such a positive quality? No. If we have a strong feeling of that we have such kind of quality, definitely it will be yours. Keep check by yourself that what things you can make further. Definitely you are moving ahead with your profession, career or choosing. So sometimes this kind of negative quality might be affecting in such field. A person like me is a short term, but it really affected my professional career because for my as a mental health professional, I need active listening and lot of immense patience to hear my clients. So correlate it with you, like what are things you need to change. This is the best time you can mold yourself. So always think of it, make it as for a self-evaluation, even though you doesn't like to disclose with others. So there are some tips for you relaxing. So if you feel anxious or if you are going for the exams, like the medicines, you can do it in the early morning or in the comfortable position, or once you feel to get relaxed, you can do this breathing exercise. It might be helping. So this is really simply, and you might be knowing all this exercise. It's an abdominal breathing. Usually we are asked to practice, and you can sit comfortably, close your eyes, and put one hand on the abdomen and focus on your breathing. And try to see that when you're breathing in and out, focus on your abdomen rather than the chest and concentrate on the fact that your stomach is rising as you breathe and falling as you breathe out. So you can perform this simple breathing exercise when you're feeling anxious or if you have found that you cannot concentrate well, you can do it on a regular basis, like 3 times morning, afternoon, or night, or once you feel that you are really anxious. We usually said that we need to simply relax, breathe in, breathe out. We usually said that we need to take a relaxation or deep breath, which gives you a relaxation. So once you are really in distress, please be practice it. And like a free meditation, like we can comfortably in a position or lie down, which is suited for you, and close your eyes and put some music and listen to the music. And do not try to think of anything, just concentrate on your breathing. If any thoughts come in, do not try to control them or force them out. Let it be and instead spend time on them and let them go on as they come and do initially it for about 5 minutes and slowly as you become better it has gone you can increase the time period for about 20 to 25 minutes and it's really felt helpful for everyone. So all these things you can do if you find you are going to be in your exams and all you might be get anxious. You can do regularly these kind of relaxation techniques. For this, even this abdominal breathing is really good for you, and for not for you, for everyone, it's a simple just relaxation exercise might be helping for to get relaxed. So these things you can practice and provide appropriate support. Like as we discussed, this is the week which we have for creating a mental health awareness. We need to help our colleagues, our friends, if anyone who is in distress, we need to find, never go ever go and tease them, be patient to them, be consider them, listen them. Actually everyone needs the quality like it's active listening. It's really help. We can easily said that, but it's really difficult to listen them. We have seen that so many cases. Once if we are going to discuss a thing, they usually start to prejudice and they have given so many opinions. They doesn't even hear us. That time we might be feeling that why didn't they hear me? I have a lot of things to share with them, but they doesn't give a proper time. So even with your friend circle or in your community, listen to them and make comfortable them and give attention if you're feeling that your friends or in your community someone is in distress. So understanding about these things will keep you a good mental health. So once we find our health is good, then only we can empower the community. So definitely once we are going through any kind of trauma recovery, it's the meaningful which have given the satisfying life without if you are going with recurring or ongoing symptoms. So, if you find any kind of difficulties, please do not hesitate to share with your teachers or your parents. And if you might feel that you need a professional help, seek it. Otherwise, like a normal kind of tensions and anxieties, you can practice these relaxation techniques. Identify ourselves. This is the primary thing which we everyone wants to do. Identify ourselves, understanding ourselves is the best thing. This is the thing which we need once we are in going for the professional or career. We might get know that what was our positives and negatives, then only we can move ahead. So hopefully you might be get some sort of insight regarding mental health, what does it mean. And thank you so much. You are really an active group, even though it is in online session. I really miss nowadays the interaction with the physical presence. If it is a physical presence, we can do some sort of exercise and activities. But we are really active kids. I'm really happy to be with interact with you. If there is any queries or concerns, you may feel please free us. If you have anything to need ask, not in a group, you can email to me, contact me, like any concerns you have. Or if you want to ask now anything also, we can have a brief discussion. I know the time is beyond.
Ma'am?
Ma'am, can you send your email
Yes.
in the chat?
Yes, ma'am. I was going to ask the same.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Anaka, please.
No, ma'am. We were asking that can you share your email? And we all
Yeah,
obviously
sure,
ask.
I will share it.
Yes, ma'am.
So if there is no queries, you can give some feedbacks to me. It will help for me to like dealing with kids. So if you have any queries, you can. I have shared my email ID in the chat box. You can access it. Um, so one or two persons can give me your feedback. It might really helpful for me.
Ma'am,
Yeah, Rajshri.
thank you so much for this, in a way, really empowering, and also a, a session that really touched a few parts of myself that I didn't really previously try to think about or ponder on. So this was a very enlightening session in a way, and I'm sure all of us can agree on that. And you conducted it really beautifully. I mean, there is nothing that went wrong or anything like that. Um, you were very patient with us, and I really appreciate that. So thank you so much for being here with us today and conducting this, and in a way motivating us to become self-aware. That is something that we all need at this time. So, yes, ma'am, this was wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm really honored that I got to attend this.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. As Rajshri said, this was very refreshing. We kind of got to know ourselves better, and just we got an opportunity to know what all brown leaves we have to shed from our life.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It was really
Actually, I was
refreshing.
also actually I was really like happy also. Like you get the point what I was trying to say or convey. So I'm
Yes, ma'am, because
really
you said it so well. You were excellent at conveying yourself.
Until now,
That's
we
why we could
thought that it
understand.
was our own problem of having some mentally sickness, but you made it clear that it is common for all. We need to tackle that.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am, the destigmatization is something I really appreciate. I couldn't have said it myself ever. The way you made it clear, it was really nice, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much. It's really, you are really a wonderful session, really interactive session. I know that there are so many kids remaining, but I think for everyone it might be helpful. And definitely, I will extend my support if there is any needy one in your school. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, good afternoon, children. So anybody else want to ask anything? We are going to wind up the session. Before that, if anyone want to ask any such questions, shall we wind up the program?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So we
So
have
I
a
think we can wind up now, teacher.
yeah, we have a formal water can. So for that, I invite Ms. Drishya Jairaj of class 12B. Drishya, please.
Uh, Mental health is just as important as physical health. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm Drishya Jairaj of class 12B. During this pandemic, there must have been times of stress and apprehension, and I'm sure that all of us have experienced it at some point. In some cases, if not recognized and managed, these feelings can lead to mental illness. Today, I deem it a great honor to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of our school. Thank you, Beena ma'am and Anita ma'am, for joining us today and giving us information regarding how to stay mentally healthy during pandemic and how to recognize and manage our feelings. And Anita ma'am, the activity was really interesting and it was really helpful. So one of the things that I wrote in my brown leaves was negative thoughts, and maybe because of those negative thoughts, at first I couldn't think uh, of anything to write as my strength in the green leaf, but since you gave us a time, I could think of something, and I'm really happy and thankful uh, because I was really impressed to know that I had this many strengths. And I would also like to thank our principal sir, Sri Kumara Mohanji, and all our teachers for providing us such a great opportunity. And last but not the least, I would like to thank all the students for attending and contributing to this webinar. Thank you.